So I found you from your Mitchell Moose of TikTok.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's like, is he with us? Is he not? We don't know.
I don't
We
know.
don't
I
know.
haven't heard from him in quite some time.
No one
I
has.
did meet Mitchell Musso.
He needs a guardian.
When I was like 10, but that's the last time he was seen.
That's the last time anyone ever saw him.
Anyone's seen him.
Yeah.
So
you were the last, Gavyn. That's a little suspicious.
I know. Anyways.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening whenever you're listening to this. Welcome back to another episode of And That's That on That.
An entertainment podcast you didn't know you needed, but here we are anyways. I'm Gavyn Bailey.
And I'm Haley Chapman. So let's get started.
Hey guys. Welcome back.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of And That's That on That. A fully remote episode.
A fully remote episode. You heard that right. Haley and I are not in the same room.
No, we're not.
For the first time ever. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. We did a remote episode last episode, but we just simply did not
disclose that, right?
We did not disclose the fact.
Gavyn,
but it kind of worked out.
Well, yeah. Do you want to tell us why we're fully remote?
Yes, guys, the pits continue, unfortunately, this week. I tested positive for Miss COVID, the coronavirus, last week, and had a little stint in the hospital.
Sure did.
And that was a crazy time, but I am okay. Okay, guys, one thing about my body is that like it overreacts every time. So I'm like, of course, I get COVID, right? And then no less than 24 hours later, I'm septic. And why is that? Body,
it's going to overreact.
One thing about me, I'm going to get sepsis. That is one thing about me.
You just like cheated death in the hospital.
No, literally. They're like, you would have fucking gone into cardiac arrest. And I've heard that before. This is my second time getting sepsis and like barely making it in time to the hospital. All I have to say about that is listen to your intuition, guys.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, very scary times. But we're here, guys. We're here. We almost didn't do an episode this week, so I'm very excited that we were able to make this happen. We had to reschedule our interviews, and it was a whole thing. But we're back, and we're healthy. So, technically, I think I'm still positive, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's why I ain't going near you, boo.
Yes. So, anyways,
but we're here. We're queer,
and we're ready.
We're here, and we're alive.
We're alive.
We're kicking. We're still kicking.
We are still kicking. But on today's episode, we're diving back into the world of TikTok. We have Eilise Guilfoyle. You've probably seen her on TikTok. She's got about 113,000 followers on TikTok, about 18,000 on Instagram, and multiple TV and film projects under her belt. We'll get to talk to her a little bit later on, but love her.
She's actually the funniest person on the planet. If you guys don't know who she is, one, look her up, and two, watch the Mitchell Musso video, and you're gonna cry. You're gonna cry laughing, and you're gonna love her just as much as we do.
I love it. Well, other than me being in the hospital in the last week, how are you doing, Haley?
I'm good. Are
you?
I'm falling apart. No, I'm just kidding. I'm good.
Literally.
No, I'm good. I'm just like, like when you just like go through life and you're just like doing it, like you're working, you're doing family stuff.
That's been it.
For 26 years now. That's been it. I'm good. Everything's good. It was just Father's Day and I got to see my dad. We rescheduled our trip to Toronto. Lots of fun things coming up this summer. So it was just Father's Day. I got to see my family. I rescheduled my trip to Toronto. There's a lot of fun things coming up this summer. I've got a couple bachelorette parties and I've been booking a lot of travel. But
Nice.
yeah, just been working, getting through life. It's hot as hell in LA.
It is. It has been. Yeah.
It's so hot. So get ready for that this summer.
I'm ready for another heat wave.
But you know what? I guess it's better than ice cold. I will say
That's
that.
true. I would rather be hot than cold.
But then you're hot and sweating and you're like, okay, I'd take cold any day. And then you're freezing and you're like, I would rather be burning alive.
See, but for me, I just like cold is something I just can't do. Like I'm so sensitive. Like when I get out of the jacuzzi, that's the worst pain I could ever go through. Genuinely. It's my body is very sensitive to cold. So I would much rather take heat over that.
Okay. That's a fair argument.
Okay.
I'll take it.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah, I'm not sold, but yeah, I'll give you that one.
Well, I'm really excited to chat with Eilise today because I'm like been wanting to go back into the world of TikTok ever since we had Maddie on.
Yeah.
And Maddie has been killing it since we had her on, like absolutely popping off. So it's so nice to see that. And I just love TikTokers. Like that whole world just fascinates me. So I'm excited to get to chat about it. And yeah, but today's episode, we got a lovely pit and peak for you.
Yeah.
And
but before we get into that, I kind of want to just pop on here and give you a quick little reminder, a little refresher.
Haley's bi-weekly reminder.
We're rebranding. Basically, it's like it dawned on me that it's just like easy to go on Instagram and like see us posting about the podcast and posting about like guests and whatnot, and people kind of just think like, oh, they're just doing a podcast like everyone else. Everyone has a podcast. They're just doing a podcast, and I want
not
to.
True.
No, no. I want to take a moment to give you guys a little refresher about why we do this, what the point of this whole thing is. So basically, our episodes are not like other episodes where other like podcasts or interviews and whatnot, where they're just like promoting stuff or they're doing promo, they're doing press for a new album coming out or whatever.
Right.
Ours is not angled that way. And the reason that we do this is to basically bridge the gap between a fan and a friend. We just want this to feel like a sit down friend,
just chitter
chatter and just hang. And we want it to, we want to be the like vessel for people who love these guests to get to know them better. So
and we love them just as much.
Oh my God. Well,
that's to play it down.
That's the whole reason, because that's what happens to us every single time we have a new guest on. We go from being their fan to being their friend, and we want it to feel that way for you guys too. And it's all obviously about the entertainment industry. It's all your favorite creators, your favorite singers, songwriters, everything. So we just want to be that like vessel, that bridge that can make you guys feel like you're a best friend of the guest or whoever, because we know that our listeners are tuning in per guest, like to listen to that guest, and we want to cater to their following just as much as like our listenership. We want to cater to that guest's listenership. So we just want it to feel very much like a friend to friend chat. This is not a press promo interview, and we're doing it because we know that you guys feel the same way about these creators and these people you look up to, how we want to get to know more about them. So we want to be that for you guys. So that's that on that.
That's that on that.
But also, you guys, we just want you to feel like we're friends.
Yes.
We're not doing this just for fucking to do it. We love it, and we love it. We want it to be impactful, and we want you to feel like you're a friend of the person that you look up to. So anyways.
Absolutely.
That's that on that.
Wow. That's that on that, Haley. Great explanation. Thank you for putting my thoughts into words.
I'm a publicist. Did you know?
You are.
Clearly.
You are
clearly.
very much so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that that's been said, why don't we go into pit or peak? Haley, I feel like you should start this one off.
Okay. This one is like, it's a pit, but it's like a funny pit. It's not bad. It's silly. And it's something that would literally only happen to me. So
Do we both have pits this week? I mean, mine's kind of a pit and peak, but
Okay, that's good. We need some sort of. This one's funny. It's not like a bad pit. So
right.
basically, so I go to this Pilates studio that's like a 10-minute walk from my house, and so I'm walking down Barrington, and I'm just minding my own business. I'm on my way home from the Pilates studio. I'm just like on my phone, listening to my headphones, like the whole thing. And as I'm like walking across the street, I don't know if you guys have seen these things, but they're called Cocos, and they like deliver things. They're a robot, and they're like, it's like, it looks like a basket, and it's like on wheels, and it just fucking goes around town and delivers shit to people. And this thing can like,
The first time I saw that, I literally lost my mark. Like, I lost my shit. I could not believe
it's
my
jarring.
eyes.
It's jarring for sure. And they
Very.
can see like, they can see cars, they can see red lights, they can see stop signs, they can see all the things. But apparently this fucking Coco didn't see me. And it fully like, I'm walking across the street, and first of all, it's jarring. I see it, and I'm like already like, okay, what way are you going to go? And what way am I going to go? And so I'm like, I'm the human in this situation, so I shouldn't be scared. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep walking straight. It'll see me. It'll move for me. I'm the human, right? So I'm walking, fully being confident that it's going to go around me. And it was literally like when you see someone on the other side of the sidewalk and you're like, oh, are you going that way? Am I going that way? Blah, blah, blah. Like you do that dance.
Yeah.
And that happened.
Doing the dance.
And we did the dance. I did the dance with the Coco. And then all of a sudden it just fucking takes off right at me. And I fully had to jump. Like I had to jump out of the way. And I look up, and these people are watching this entire encounter happen. And they're like walking their
Love
dog.
that.
And they saw it. And I could feel the secondhand embarrassment radiating off of them. It was cringeworthy. It was unbelievable, truly. I looked up and I audibly said out loud with my headphones in, couldn't hear myself speak, but I said it out loud. I said, are you fucking kidding me? I literally walked away, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? And then I just kept walking, and these people were fully embarrassed for me, but it was pretty funny.
I'm just glad you're alive.
I laughed.
Were there any injuries?
I'm glad you're alive. No injuries. There could have been, but I laughed. I laughed about it. I hope you guys laugh about it. I almost watch out for them guys. They are spooky. They'll get you.
Very. We've had very eventful weeks, it seems. Very scary near-death experiences.
That was my near-death experience was nowhere near yours.
Well, I mean, it was pretty crazy. So this is my pit turned into peak, I guess. So yeah, so as you guys know, I've been going through it the last few months. We're being vulnerable again. And I do have to say that I was beaten while I was down.
You were kicked whilst
I was
down.
kicked whilst down. And yeah, so I got COVID, tested positive for COVID, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
And then very soon after became septic, which is basically when your body just like decides to quit. It's just like, I can't do this. I can't fight this. So
You're
it just
on your
gives
own.
up. And then your body starts like releasing these chemicals, and then those chemicals like shut your body down essentially. And thankfully I was not like that far into the sepsis like process, if you will. But it was enough for them to be like, oh shit, yeah, he has sepsis. We got to get him back here quick.
How do they treat that? Like,
that's
what
a
do
great
they give you?
question. I don't know.
I thought it was like an infection at first, but I guess it's like a shock.
It can't. Well, yeah. So it starts out that way typically. Like you have an infection, and then that infection spreads, and then turns into sepsis. I think. I'm not a doctor. I don't know.
No.
This is just from what I was told in the hospital at like half brain capacity.
Right.
And it just like it reminded me of when I had it last time, because it was like the same deal. Like I still kind of felt like almost similar feelings, and like that I really needed to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Which which last time I was left in the hospital by my ex-boyfriend, but we won't go into that.
Yeah, we don't know
won't go
him. We don't know him.
But yeah, so anyways, I don't want to go into that story, but I kind of do because it's kind of juicy, but also maybe we'll save it for another time. But yeah, so it was fun. I didn't have it
fun,
horribly
yeah.
though. I could have been much worse. Like I did feel like shit, but it wasn't like I wasn't like dying because of the COVID.
Yeah.
I was dying because of the sepsis.
Right.
So that was fun. But then and then they double dosed me while I was in the hospital. Did I tell you about this?
No. What does that mean?
When they give you 2 of the same dose
What
on
was
accident. My sleeping medication.
Oh my God.
So it was
Is that why you were like unconscious for hours?
So they gave it to me. So they gave me my normal sleeping medication, and then they gave me on top of that this like anti-anxiety, like also anti-itching medication, which I used to take a long time ago for like panic attacks. Like that's what I would take when I would have panic attacks, and it like calms you the fuck down.
Gabapentin.
Not gabapentin, hydroxyzine.
Never mind. I thought I was a doctor.
Anyways.
Never mind.
So they give me hydroxyzine on top of the sleeping medication that I'm on. And I like start feeling my heart slow down. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I'm like laying and I just start feeling like super, super lethargic, like super weak. And like my heart rate started like dropping. And so I like get up and I start doing fucking jumping jacks. Cause I was like, I am so scared. Like my heart rate is like not like I'm gonna die.
How have you not told me this yet? Jesus.
I forgot. It was quite traumatic.
Holy fuck.
I'm making a fat complaint, by the way, to the hospital. I'm not going to talk about it on the pod, but
how
just
do
in
these
case.
doctors have, or these nurses, like, what the hell?
So, and then meanwhile, so as this is happening, I'm like, okay, this is because they gave me fucking hydroxyzine. So I like look up the drug interactions like online, which was a mistake.
Oh, God.
And it was like lethal interaction. And I was like, fuck.
Oh my God.
Like, call the nurse and I'm like, bro, y'all just gave me like basically 2 doses of like sleeping medication, and this like I'm not okay. Like my heart rate's going down, whatever. And they're like, oh, it's it's fine, like blah blah blah, just like trying to play it down. And then I called my mom because when things like that happen, you just gotta call mom. And I was like,
the big guns.
I was like, girl, my pulse is like very low right now, and I'm this is not
to
cute.
freak you out, but like,
and I
can't
told
feel
her
my
I was doing.
heartbeat.
I was telling her I was doing jumping jacks, and then the nurse told me not to do the jumping jacks. So she's like, you're going to pass out if you keep doing that. And I was like, well, how else am I going to get my heart rate up?
Yeah.
So anyways, that happened. That was kind of scary. And I mean, those kinds of things have happened to me before where I've like accidentally taken 2 or like whatever. And I just,
oh God,
you just have to do some jumping jacks, just get your heart rate going.
That's
and
terrifying.
That's just the way it is. I was glad it wasn't like, an overdose of like the pain meds that are giving me or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been much more serious.
Well,
but yeah, so the
stupid.
peak of all of this is that I'm out, that I survived, and that we didn't have to cancel this episode. And we get to talk to one of our favorite TikTokers today. So it all worked out.
Yeah.
The universe loves to give me a little scare every once in a while, just to make sure I'm on top of it.
Keep you on your toes.
That was my yearly scare.
Nice.
So that was that on that. That was wild. That did not need to happen.
Yeah.
So if my nurse from that night is listening to this, your mom's a hoe.
Your mom's a hoe. Yeah.
I told my dad like what happened. He was like, that's like not cool. Like that should not happen. I was like, yeah,
You're
I know.
telling me. Damn.
Anyways,
you
as I
should
said,
have a word with Miss UCLA.
Today's drink, by the way, guys, we poured a drink since we're doing this in the evening, was made by my roommate and best friend, Alex. And she made She made a drink called Come Get Y'all Juice. It's got fairy dust on it. It's got tequila.
It's a very Alex drink.
Splash? What's splash? Oh, juice and some pineapple juice. And Alex said I need to address my juice addiction.
You have a juice addiction? You have like a liquid addiction.
I do. I have a list of addictions, but this one is, well, I don't know if it's an addiction. Alex just thinks that I drink too much juice.
What juice? I don't think I've ever seen
like
you
cranberry juice. I really love cranberry
have
juice.
Never seen you drink cranberry juice in my life.
Well, it's when I'm
You're
like
good at hiding your addiction.
I am. I actually really am good at hiding that. So.
Oh my gosh.
But anyways, where was this going? I don't remember. But this is also the first episode that we're doing where you can watch us on YouTube. The full episode, you can see what we look like whilst talking and
so exciting.
Just see the whole environment. And I hope you guys enjoy it. So if you're watching right now, hello. It's good to see your face.
Yeah.
Good to see my face.
See our face. Yeah.
And
do you think we look like how we sound? You know, when you like hear someone talk and then you see them and you're like, you don't look like that.
But we have our pictures on the album art.
Okay, and if in a world where they didn't, do you think we look like our voices?
I feel like I do. I feel like you do too. But
Yeah,
I've also known you for a decade, so I don't know.
I don't think you do.
Really?
Well, like this voice that you're using, because it's like more like lower and like talky rather than like when we're like dicking around and being crazy. It's a different voice. So you would picture a different person.
My tones change depending on the situation, I feel.
Leave a comment, guys. Do we look like what we sound like?
I was told the other day that I was giving straight, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you really do.
And then sometimes I'm like incredibly flamboyant. So it just depends. I'm very fluid in
it's
that
all
way.
Fluid. You're allowed to be all things.
I'm kind of in my masculine era, I feel.
I fear you're in your punk rock era, e-boy era.
Like I haven't let my eyebrows grow out since like 6th grade, I fear.
I fear you're right. You look great.
But
you look like you just cheated death.
I know. Well, guys, that is just the way the cookie has crumbled on this intro, everyone. Thank you for listening. Coming up next, we have Eilise Guilfoyle, a very funny gal, and we'll tell you all about her after this. Anything you want to add, Haley? Anything you want to say to the fans before we take off?
I just want to know if I look like how I sound. That's all I want to know.
I'm going to add it to our Q&A on Spotify for this episode. So if you're listening on Spotify, there will be a Q&A underneath asking if either of us sound like what we look like.
Yeah, and there we go.
We will read the answers next episode. How's that?
Yes, let's do it.
Eilise Guilfoyle coming up after this.
Okay, guys. So today we're here with actress, director, producer, writer, and most recently viral TikTok star, Eilise Guilfoyle. She's got 7.4 million likes and 113,000 followers on TikTok and almost 18K on Insta. And multiple film and TV projects under her belt, including the TV series Cora and Sam Hate the Dentist and the miniseries Serial and multiple short films. So please welcome to the show, Miss Eilise Guilfoyle.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me. That was I'm like, that's a deep dive intro there, man.
I did a little IMDb dive.
Don't watch any of that shit that you just brought up, please.
I saw your little short reel on I peeing my pants.
No, it's so good.
It's
videos
so
need
good.
to go away sometimes.
I fucking loved it. Well, we're so stoked you're here, and like Gavyn was saying, we found you on TikTok. You are all over our FYPs. All of our friends. I mean, we literally really are fucking everywhere. And I love it. And obviously you are so fucking funny. And we want to know, basically, like, one of the reasons we started this podcast was we want to bridge like that gap between fans and friends and kind of get a little bit more out of you of like your journey, your story, and how you began and everything. So take us back to the beginning. Where did it all start? How long have you been pursuing this? What's going on?
I grew up in Roanoke, Virginia. What if I just like talked for 45 minutes about my past? I grew up in Roanoke, Virginia.
Same.
It's like minute 20 and I'm like, I wasn't close to my dad. But I grew up there, so there wasn't much like performance stuff going on.
Yeah.
So I was always like interested in all that stuff. That was always the only thing like I was good at. And my family has, like, everyone in my family is over 6 feet tall. I have 4 siblings, and I was just like 5'6" and not like athletic. And there was like something going on there. I think a different spouse to my mom or something. But
the mailman's kid.
The mailman, yeah. But then, I started I went to a really small school, so they didn't have a theater program, and but the public schools nearby were massive, so I could just like sneak into the auditions there, and like they didn't know if I went there or not. So that's kind of how I started doing like theater.
I love that.
Musical theater, how everyone does, like, you know, Dorothy and all that. And that was fine. And then, I went out to California. I studied theater and screenwriting in school. And when I was first out here, I was at a school I didn't like for my first year, and it was in San Diego. And I was like, let me try. My mom was like, you know, when your parents give you advice, and I'm like, well, I can't do that. She told me to start class at the Groundlings in LA, and I was in San Diego. And I was like, well, I can't. So that would be insane. If you lived out here, you would know.
Right.
But then I just like started doing that. Like every week I would take the train. And then I got more into like, okay, comedy is what I like, and not like doing dramatic monologues about like divorce. Right. And so, and then I kept doing comedy, got like an agent when I graduated, and kind of then started like auditioning more and all that. And then it's weird, like in the past 2 years with everything with COVID, I used to just kind of there was a bit where I made videos like on Instagram, and I would put stuff on my story just as me. And then people would be like, can you send me from when you rented a Chevy Malibu and blah, and I'm like, I don't have this saved. It was when I rented a Chevy Malibu and I was like living in luxury for a week.
Right.
And I felt like I was wealthy. So then I was like, okay, let me make another account. Then cue Instagram, and then TikTok. When TikTok popped up, my sister was like, you need to get a TikTok. And I thought it was like people dancing, you know, the whole thing. And then and I think my writing stuff started more in college with like writing scripts and whatever. And I would help people with like their college auditions and that, like the showcase auditions and stuff. I would write their like monologues.
That's cool.
And now I just kind of do a few of those different things. And TikTok has like just been so much fun.
That's insane. So I did read that you went to Loyola Marymount. Yeah. Is that, so that's the school that you did like?
I did like Loyola. Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
I don't want to like trash schools. I love Loyola. I graduated from there. I was there for 3 years, but I transferred in. Yeah.
Love. Okay. So I'm just curious, like I read that's really where you got your start in comedy. And I'm curious what like the comedy scene was in college, like what it was like there. 'Cause I did go to a comedy showcase at Loyola back in the day. Oh God.
You're like, I saw you and you were so bad.
I did not see you. I wish I did. But it just seemed like such a collaborative environment and like such a great place to create. And I'm curious what that was like for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool because when I started there, as like I think everyone does in acting, you just go and you're like, you'll take any opportunity. I was in a short film that literally I was wearing a top hat and I had to saw my own arm off. And it was like the scariest, most like if that footage is anywhere, I will pay so much money.
I would match you on that.
Yeah.
It was like the scariest thing. And like, you know, upperclassmen are like, this is what you need to do. Like, this is the real shit. I'm like, I'm a magician sawing my own like arm off. Anyway, so then I was like, I gotta find some like, this is not it. Like, what is, I'm like in a basement, like, I'm like sobbing. And then I found like there was like an improv team that was having auditions. There was a team on campus that was like cool. And I wasn't in, you know, any of the fraternity, sorority stuff. And because you can just like go to that stuff for free if your friends are in it, by the way. But then I joined that and I went and I auditioned and they became like, we would have shows all the time. And it was such a like, the school really champions like creators. And obviously it has like a great film school. So people would all come to the show, and then it was like a cool thing on campus at the time to go, and then you go out, and it was so then I was kind of around comedians, and I didn't really do a ton of stand-up at the time. That kind of started a little bit later, but I was around kind of like improv people, and some of them were at Garling's and UCB, and that was like cool to kind of feel like you're learning from people who are better than you know.
I'm curious who your like inspirations are, your comedic like icons. How did you like learn how to be funny?
Can you learn how to be funny?
Maybe not.
So there's one class you take. No, I mean, God, I love all the greats. I mean, I grew up watching SNL and like Molly Shannon and Gilda Radner and then like Kristen Wiig and Will Ferrell. I mean, they were like my gods and still are. So I love that. My dad is really funny and my family, everyone's really funny. So I think it was just we're always like you're screaming to get the bit in at dinner, and that was kind of
I love that.
Like the environment. So yeah, I mean, I just love watching comedy. I love TV and entertainment in general, but like comedy has always been something I love.
And on TikTok, I've read that you've been inspired by creators like Eilise Myers, Meg Stalter, Hannah Pyle. I'm so
Pilkis,
sorry.
Yeah. No. It's a tough one.
I was so confident going into that.
Hannah Pilkis.
That's the one.
Also, Maddie Grace Jepsen, who we've had on
queen.
Our show. We love her so much.
Love her.
Mary Kelly and Beth Ann Bryce, who we're also going to have later on in the season.
Yes.
What about those creators inspire your own content?
I think it's like different because some of them are more like day in a life people. Like Beth Ann is so, I mean, just like
she's unreal.
Every moment she has.
Yeah.
And so I just like other, the police are out. Just
the
like other
police
creators
are on the way.
The police are coming right now. Bye guys, thank you. I gotta head out. There's like so many police. It's like not ending. And fire truck.
Oh
okay.
my God.
More? Okay.
It's a busy city.
Drenched in sweat. But Beth Ann, like I just love Beth Ann and people. I mean, there's so many other people on TikTok where it's just I'm cackling. Like it's such a joy to watch people like that just make you laugh so much. And then like Hannah Pilkis and like Meg and people who are just creating, you know, just characters, and Chloe before she got on SNL, and people who are just putting videos out all the time. Chloe Fineman, I just think their like uniqueness and characters, and I love people that, I mean, I like a lot of different types of creators online, but I think people who make something a little more unique than like the mean girl or the this, like it's fun if you find like Hannah Pilkis will be like someone who forgets how rocking chairs work, and it's like, what is your brain, you know? And so it's fun to see people like that create, and it's inspiring, you know.
Well, I want to know, is there anyone that you like fangirled when they followed you on TikTok? Anyone that you like maybe freaked out a little bit if now that you get to like collaborate with people?
Oh my gosh. I think it's been like definitely people that follow me. Like when Meg Stalter followed me, I had loved her as like an actress and a comedian for so long. And I love her on Hacks and things like that. But like meeting people in person where like they'll be like, let's get a drink. And then I'm like, you're so much cooler than me. I think like I had followed them and they had followed me, and it had been like even like Natalie, like corporate Natalie is a friend of mine. And I remember being like, oh, so funny. And then like we became like really good friends. And then to become really good friends with people instead of just like only collaborating, like is so cool.
Yeah.
Like I think Erica Priscilla is so funny. When she followed me, I was like, okay. And yeah, I mean, there's like, Meghan Trainor. I'm like, okay, like,
oh my God,
Meghan Trainor. I love it. I
that's
did read that.
incredible.
All right, like, and yeah, that stuff is just so funny. TikTok is crazy because like anyone can see your stuff, and it's just like
Meghan Trainor.
It's so cool.
I would shit my pants.
I hope she's doing well.
She's doing really awesome. Apparently, we don't talk, but she's awesome.
She's awesome. I'm curious when like the popularity on TikTok started for you, and what that was like when you started to notice people, your videos starting to take traction or gain traction rather, and people starting to take note of like who you are as a comedian.
You know, I think it's interesting because I don't consider myself to have like a massive presence on TikTok, at least considering like what a massive presence on TikTok looks like for some people. It's been like such a slow, gradual thing, but I do feel like the people that follow me like are so incredibly like supportive and nice and follow me on Instagram and try to follow me on Facebook or follow me on Facebook. I'm a grandmother. And they follow me on like my private Instagram, like everything. And so, and I think that, I think it's probably because I didn't come onto TikTok to, become like influencer TikTok. I just like post when I think something's really funny. And I, if I had a little more time to even just to be posting more and all that kind of stuff. So just wanted to start by selling myself short. Perfect. And then number 2, check. And then I don't know. I think there was a few like viral videos that were so silly that I was like, what is this app? Like there was like a fit couple that I stitched. My first video that I felt like I remember going viral was like a fit couple that I stitched that was like, there's nothing better than getting up early to something. And I was like, have you ever tried wavy lays or something about wavy lays? And then my favorite snack. And then it's something like simple like that where I was like,
yeah, exactly.
What is this? And then it's interesting because I like doing characters. A lot of like what I do in like comedy and groundlings and improv and all that is like character based. But then I also have found this like fun thing of like me just sharing my day too. That's really fun. And so it's been cool now seeing those videos where before like the quicker things would take off, but now like building an audience and having people be like, how is the shift today or whatever is like that's kind of fun. So I'm not quite sure, but it has been like a gradual thing that's been really cool.
That's one thing awesome. That's you have a great fan base or followers and whatnot when they actually just want to watch stuff about your day. Like you'll get in your car and you're talking about your shift or you're talking about the fucking massage therapist one that made me pee my pants. That one was
not
unreal.
Anymore,
just like
so. Are you? I'm just kidding. Can you imagine? No, we are.
I was like, oh no.
Way to bring that up, Haley. That was awesome.
Yeah. So sorry. Never happened. Oh my God. But that's like when like people just want to listen to you, like you talk about your day. I would listen to you talk about the fucking weather. Like it's so funny to me. So it's like, I love that for you. What is your like next step? Like, what do you think you want to do long term? Like films? Do you want to do more TV? What's your vibe?
I mean, I think definitely like film and TV is, I really like TV. I mean, if there was like a great comedic, I've kind of just zeroed in on comedy now. So I think, it's been awesome having TikTok as like a pitching point too for a lot of this stuff, which is cool. I didn't know like getting jobs from your TikTok, because if they really want someone like comedic or whatever, like that's been great. I mean, a goal of mine is definitely like writing on a show that I'm like creating and acting in. And so, I mean, you're always pitching. I like just in the past few years have started like actually pitching shows and making those connections with the production companies and this and that, and seeing kind of what goes into all that. And I mean, it's nuts. I think people should just like put their stuff out there, because really you don't know some of the like great meetings of like idols of mine or people that I love from just your social media. And I think to work with people that like see my content and then say like, let's create something, that would be a goal of mine, because I don't have to like pretend to, you know, be something. They know what they're getting and they like are seeking that out, which I would love, you know?
Well, it's like TikTok's like a highlight reel of like, you don't even need an audition, because it's just all right there and they already know you. That's the beauty of social media, is just put it out there, especially in your field too. Like, totally. I love that. I love that you can get a job from TikTok. That's amazing.
Yeah. Did you notice like that was, once you were going viral, like you were getting a lot more opportunities via TikTok? Like, was that like a big change for you?
I think that, I think, well, number one was like the fact that you can make some money through TikTok was huge. Right. Even if you don't want it to be your full-time thing, it's really cool if you even have things that already you like, and then they are like, hey, we're going to give you this and pay you. And as someone who's always worked a bajillion jobs, it's really cool to be able to, you know, cut down on hours there and be able to focus on creating and things that you like to do. You know, and I've tried to, you know, kind of keep a good balance of, I do only like probably work with like maybe 1 or 2 brands a month or something. But that definitely like was through TikTok. They're just like hitting you up and you're like, okay. And you know me, I'm like, what's the product? How can I, you know, and I had to be like, okay, 100%. Can't be selling people like curtains. People will be like, what is Eilise doing? But that was great. But then as far as jobs, it's been like a slow, you don't see it as much unless you like, you know, you get an audition and then you find out that you were requested or that you were, you know, where before you might get pitched. But I think a lot of times, you know, my agent will be like, we pitched you on this and they loved this specific TikTok or whatever. And that's really cool. That definitely has ramped up for sure.
That's awesome. I love it. I love the power of social media like that we can all
truly.
just
Truly.
That's like same with our podcast. We just put it out there, and especially on TikTok, like everyone has an equal opportunity to go viral or to reach as many people as possible. I like it much better than Instagram.
It's so cool because I bet if you guys like put out your stuff and you're just chatting, you're telling jokes, you're like just chatting between the two of you, and anyone is like, oh my God, this is fun. People are always looking for new podcasts. People are always like, and what a great, you're literally in people's face. Like they're either forced to like you or, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I love it. I mean, I was so against TikTok for so long.
Me too.
I mean,
Same.
heart, I'm a singer and songwriter and artist. And so like that, when I was releasing music a few years ago before the pandemic, like that was when TikTok was first like starting to become really popular. Yeah. That was in my face at all times. Just like, you need to get on TikTok. You need to get on TikTok. So that like constant thing, anyone telling me what to do and me not wanting to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
But I've learned to like love it so much, and I go on it so often as a consumer, but like as you know, as a creator, like I've found it to be, I don't know, a little more difficult for me, but I'm getting into it more. I'm getting into it more.
Yeah. I definitely think it like takes time, but I think as long as like you don't force it, like I feel like that's the biggest thing. Even some of my like musician friends, they're like, I don't want to just like put my song out there. Like I don't want, you know, whatever. But then one of my good friends, Mark, like I'm thinking about then when he finally, like when we were talking about it and then when you have one, because you put out stuff and nothing. And then if you have one song that resonates with a bunch of people all at once, it's like seems so reward. I don't know. It's tricky, but I think it's like worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I'm all for it now, but at first I was just slightly hesitant. But I've just seen, and we've talked to people so far, even on the show, just like how much of an impact and how like life-changing it can be for you when all of these people on this app are seeing you and your work. So it's totally, I don't know, it's really cool. I want to go back to like the characters and how you started these characters, and because is a big part of who you are on TikTok and your artistry. So when did that begin, and like how did these characters start for you?
I definitely so my dad owns a ham store. And I believe I just had a odd noise going to the mic. We love it. Just like swallowed air per usual. My dad owns a ham store in Roanoke, Virginia, and I grew up like
that's so wholesome.
Eat, breathe, like sleep ham. I was like selling ham.
100%.
As we do,
as you do,
as we just have to do.
As you do.
I just like grew up, and there was so many. I was there like 11 being like sample. It was like so illegal, and
oh my god,
all of us just like and anyway, so there was like so many characters that worked there. I mean, food service in general, which has been all of my life. There was, there was a woman who was like a home health worker that I used to work with, and she would be like talking to a customer and then would be like, so tonight I actually gotta go and I gotta feed this guy, and he's been pissing in the bed, and he's pissed all over me the other day. So sometimes I diaper up. I put a pad under him this way, and I put a pad under him this way, and I let him stream out. And then she's like, thank you so much. Have a good day. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
You're just listening to this conversation.
I'm like, I don't need to be here for this at all. And just
this was not supposed to be heard by me.
It's not supposed to be heard by anyone, to be honest.
Anyone.
And like those kind of people, I mean, her name was Nancy. I'll just say it.
You better out
Nancy girl. Nancy. Let's get it together.
And she was just like, yeah, I mean, people who have 17 jobs and they're always going to the next thing. And they're like, well, yeah, my ex-husband is actually going to shoot me with he put a wire on. I'm like, I just always new information and I'm like, 12.
Right.
So yeah, characters definitely, a lot of them are inspired from like working in food service, working at the ham store. And then at Groundlings, you have to do a lot of like, as you move on, a lot of exercises where you're like characters in and out the door. You would have to like go in and out with like 5 characters, and that might be like your final for a class, like walk-ins as someone walk out, so a lot of them have like been developed there for sure. And and just like in life and whatever. But I that's like my favorite thing to do. Just be like, what the hell is wrong with this person?
And who would you say you relate the most with of your personalities or characters?
My personalities.
Excuse me.
You're like, you have 17 personalities. Who do I relate to the most? I have this one character like Kenzie who works at Michael's, and she's like kind of wanting a shot, to be the next like manager. I haven't put this one up in a minute. This is like early, maybe my Instagram, but I was like, she's very like, I got people out here stacking up pipe cleaners, and I'm out here, I'm on the floor, I'm selling services for the 4th of July, and you got to give me a shot. And like very serious. And I think I have a little bit of that attitude in me of like just wanting a shot, but that one's a little more niche.
Cute.
Yeah.
I love that one. I love that. I love all of your characters. I love all of your personalities.
So
we'll
many.
take them all together all at once.
Perfect.
Please.
Imagine.
But go ahead, Haley, if you want to ask that lovely question we ask every guest.
God, love it. Well, a final question that we like to ask everyone is, what is something that you've learned along the way that you wish you knew before starting a career in entertainment? Something you'd tell your younger self.
Yeah, I mean, I guess probably just like, it's so, I mean, this is like this is probably so cliche, but like, be free and have fun and like trust the process, I guess. Some people that like, it took me a few years of watching people who were so funny and so dedicated and a little bit older than me, like when I was in class or when I was whatever, when they were just so free to, and like, I mean, the greats who just like perform and they just like let it happen, and they're just, you know, they're not afraid of what other people think, and just like being free with what they say, and just, you know, not planning everything out and getting too ahead of yourself. Cause it's just a waste of time. Like I feel like in college and a lot of times that I was always like, okay, what's my next move? What am I doing? What is this person doing? What is this person doing? And it's just final. I mean, and I'm still learning this too, but like just having fun with it and, you know, trusting the process. Cause I wouldn't have ever thought even I would be like ever making a video in my car being like, hey, so, or I don't know, but then it's really fun because then people online are like, I'm going to be in Arkansas, try this coffee. But I don't know. It's like, who knows? And I just think it's so much more fun that way. And I wish I would have just like relaxed a little bit. So that's actually 16 pieces of advice for you guys.
Oh my God, thank you.
That was too much. Too much.
I love it. No, that's perfect.
You guys are so great. Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Eilise. Thank you.
We love it.
Is there anything that you would like to add or shout out at the end of this interview?
Anything coming up? Anything you want to shout out?
God, I mean, if you're in LA, I have a show at the Hotel Cafe July 10th, and then another one.
We will be there.
We will be there.
Oh, God. Okay, good.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
And then there's more, but yeah, I guess just follow the Instagram. My Instagram is the same. It's Eilise Guilfoyle. If you're in Arkansas, come see my short film this week on Wednesday. Guys, so many people live in Arkansas. I've had so many people be like, I'll be there. And I'm like, okay. I like added the link to my bio. I was like, I didn't think anyone would be there.
I love
that show we're developing right now into a series. So, and I think it is going to be really fun. So if you are in the area, come by. But yeah, that's all for now. I'm Eilise Guilfoyle, and that's that on that.